Today, I myself am speaking on the subject of elements of traditional Indian astronomy. I am Neeraj Chaube, the first faculty member of Kamala Nehru Institute of Technology, and a team of the persons is working under me in a DST project on satellites, both the natural and artificial. During the investigations, we have revealed that our ancient astronomy and the classical astronomy is still surviving as most vivid and has to be believed in most scientific sense. And I have found certain compilation of the elements which are being put before you people so that you may also get inspired of the great knowledge which our sages and researchers have given in the past. If I start with the preambles, the foundation of traditional Indian astronomy is rooted in the traditional Indian calendar, which is known as Panchang. As the name itself reveals, Panchang is composed of 5 component elements, and these 5 component elements are: first, the Tithi, corresponding in approximate likeness to the date of the lunar month. Thereafter, Var, the day of the week. Third component is Nakshatra, the part of ecliptic in which moon is situated. Fourth component is the Yoga, which is based on the sum of the longitude of the sun and the moon. And one very important feature is Karan. It is investigation of the half of a Tithi. Let us go through it in a little comprehensive way. In the modern times, in addition to the above Panchang dates according to even the European and the Hijri elements of Islam, these are also written in our Panchangas. In that way, the Panchangas become more feasible and practicable to all in the globe and also in the land. It has a very high class utility. Not only that, further, also the duration of the daylight, times of rising, the times of setting of sun and moon, the positions of planets and lunar and solar eclipses, and the full detail falling in some particular samvat or year, etc., are most extensively depicted in every Panchang. Although the Panchang of an year or samvat is floated quite much in advance before the commencement of the samvat, but whatever is predicted in that always stands to be true when we observe practically. We find that the observations are most precise, which are astronomically described in every Panchang. And this is by itself an evidence that Panchangas can be very well used all over the globe for entire land. Let us now go more fully towards the explanations of all the 5 basic elements of a Panchang along with also the units by which these can be judged or these can be evaluated. Say, if I come to the first one, the Tithi. Now, very definitively, most definitively, a Tithi is the difference of longitudes of sun and the moon. When this difference lies between 0 to 12, it is the first Tithi known as Pratipada or Prathama Tithi. When it lies between 12 and 24, the Tithi is called Dvitiya. When it lies between 24 to 36, we call it Tritiya, and so on. And that way, the number of Tithis divided to that, the number of Tithis are 30. Now, how these Tithis will be used, it is another matter. But first of all, we must see that Tithi can change from nth to n plus 1th in any time. The Tithi can change in the daytime, the Tithi can change in the night time. It can change any time. So, in the Panchang, the ending moment of the Tithi is always depicted, not the beginning one. When ending point of one Tithi is given, of course the beginning of the another one is succeeded. In the Indian units, we measure the time in a little different way. What we say that we start with, say, Ghati, then we call Pal and Vipal. These are the units to measure the time. Now, one Ghati is equal to 1/60th of one day, of course, of 24 hours. Now we call one Pala. One Pala is 1/60th of one Ghati. Third unit, the smallest unit is Vipal. Say Vipal. And one Vipal is 1/60th of one Pal. So these are the units prevalent in Panchang, and also the way by which we can convert them into our units known so far. The origin being the instant of sunrise on that particular day. Whenever we start counting the time, it is the time of sunrise. For example, say, if a Tithi is indicated as 4 Ghati and 51 Pala. Suppose it is 4 Ghatis and 51 Palas. Then this means that the fifth Tithi ended at 4 Ghatis. If the fifth Tithi has ended at 4 Ghatis and 51 Palas. For the civil purposes, the particular Tithi as at the moment of sunrise is regarded as Tithi for the entire day and also for following night. So thus, in this example considered above, the Tithi will be cited as Panchami, the fifth Tithi. So here it is known as Panchami. The fifth Tithi, while the fact is that the astronomical fifth Tithi ended at 4 and 51 upon 60 Ghatis, while the astronomical Tithi ends at 4 and 51 upon 60 Ghatis. And as a matter of fact, what is there? As a matter of fact, what has happened? It is only about 2 hours after sunrise. While the Tithi has ended only after 2 hours after sunrise, but we call it Panchami Tithi for entire day and the following night. So it is most remarkable from the definition of Tithis as above that astronomical Tithis are of unequal durations. Why it is so? Why these are unequal? It is because the longitude of sun and moon do not increase at a uniform rate. You know about the Kepler's laws. Due to the Kepler's laws, it is clear that longitudes of sun and the moon always increase unevenly, and that is why the Tithis are also uneven, because we always consider a Tithi since the time of sunrise. So it is most remarkable factor which is to be taken into account, because not only Kepler's laws, also it is subject to several perturbations which have been calculated by mathematicians and astronomers from time to time. Alright? As instance, the Tithi can also be longer than 24 hours, may begin a little before the sunrise, and it may continue up to a little after the next sunrise. And when this is the situation, the same civil Tithi will occur on 2 consecutive dates. As the length of the lunar month is about 29.5 days. Length of a lunar month is of 29 and a half days. This is a basic fact. So that means if it is divided into 30 tithis, then the average length of a single tithi is bound to be less than 1 day. Meaning thereby that more tithis get dropped than whatever has been repeated. And this leads to our next and the most important feature, which is tithi kshay. Tithi kshay. In our traditional astronomy, the loss of tithis due to the above said reason of the Kepler's laws and of the perturbations, etc., it is termed as the tithi kshay in the Panchangas. Further, it is noteworthy that tithi depends upon the sunrise. And so, it may be, and quite often it is, different at different places. In order to overcome this circumstance, the people of the region generally follow the Panchangas of some important central place by treating it as a standard, instead of demanding strictly for any local Panchang for their purpose. And by believing so, there is no loss of generality. For adopting so, there is absolutely no loss of generality. Let us then discuss another element, very, very important feature, the Paksh. There are two Pakshas, the Krishna Paksh and the Shukla Paksh. Let us discuss about that. The tithis, as described aforesaid, are supposed to run from 1 to 30. But due to observational astronomical reasons, it is more adequate to divide it in two parts. The same first from 1 to 15 and thereafter again from 1 to 15, total being 30. In the latter case, it is considered from 1 to 15 twice in a month. It is necessary to indicate whether it is half month following the full moon or half month following the new moon. The half month following the full moon is one Paksh named as the Krishna Paksh. Also, in English we call it the black half of the month. While, on the other hand, the half of the month following the new moon is known as Shukla Paksh. It is known as Shukla Paksh. And in English we call it the white half of the month. When the tithis are reckoned from 1 to 30, the reckoning begins along with the Paksh. It begins from the moon. So let us now come on what is known as Var. The Var is the day of the week, which is almost numbered. So it also tallies with the European system. There also they call it day. We call it Ravivar, then they call it Sunday. We call it Somvar, they call it Monday. When we call it Ravivar, they call it Sunday. When we call it Somvar, they call it Monday. When we call it Bhaumava, they call it Tuesday. And so on. So var is exactly same as given in the concept of a European system. So there it doesn't differ. Now let us discuss about the nakshatra. The ecliptic is divided into 27 equal parts, and each part is called nakshatra. For example, we name them like Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika today when I am standing over here. It is Gemini, and in Gemini this nakshatra is Punarvasu, which has just started only 5 minutes before. So nakshatra have very much importance. If we look into that ecliptic is divided into 27 equal parts, each part is called one nakshatra. As the moon's sidereal period is about 27 and 1/3 days. The moon's sidereal period is 27 to 1/3 days. The situation is like this. A nakshatra is described by moon in about 1 day. The nakshatras have their names, which I have already pointed out, that these are Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, Mrigashira, Ardra, Punarvasu, Pushyami, Ashlesha, and so on. There are 27 such nakshatras. The first point of Ashwini coincides with the first point of Mesh Rashi. It is most important. That first point of Ashwini coincides with the first point of Mesh Rashi. This is how we start depicting the nakshatras. When a nakshatra is stated to be Ashwini, this means generally that the moon is in Ashwini. And sometimes, in certain special circumstances, however, the meaning is that sun is in Ashwini. Calling that there is some nakshatra means the position of moon is lying in that nakshatra. But in few cases, situation is a little different. We also sometimes call that when sun is there, it is also nakshatra. But when we should describe it in that manner, this is very important. When we state that Lord Krishna was born in Rohini Nakshatra, this means at the moment when Lord Krishna was born, moon was lying in Rohini Nakshatra. While on the other hand, when we state that rains begin in Ardra Nakshatra, this means when sun is situated in Ardra Nakshatra, the rains used to begin. This is very important. Sometimes the position of moon and sometimes nakshatra is also indicated because of position of sun. Correct? So, let us now see that there are instances when moon crosses from one nakshatra to another nakshatra, and this time of crossing is also shown in Panchangas. Let us now discuss another important element, the yoga. Yoga. The sum of longitudes of sun and the moon is known as yoga. The sum of the longitudes of sun and moon determines the yoga. In order to avoid dealing with the numbers, it is assumed that there are 27 yogas. There are 27 yogas. And these yogas have been assigned their names like Vishkam, Preeti, Yoga, etc., etc. There are certain names to indicate them. To find the yoga, the sum of the longitudes of sun and the moon expressed in minutes of arc be divided by 800. Then the integer next greater than the quotient gives the serial number of the yoga. This is very, very important feature. For example, if at any instant, if P is sun's longitude, at any instant, say if P is the longitude of sun and Q be the longitude of moon, then P plus Q divided by 800 gives a number. And if a fraction then the next number to its integral part characterizes the concerned you. Then the next one characterizes the you. Say for example, suppose by dividing, say if P plus Q when divided by 800 provides a number, say 1.732, then the yoga will be second one. Second one, that is Preeti Yoga. The ending moment of the yogas are shown in Panchang. The purpose of yogas appears to be to supply a check to Tithi and to Nakshatra. Because in Tithis there is a large variation. Because in Tithi there is a large variation. Because the Nakshatras also start in the beginning and sometimes they also end on the next date. So under such circumstances, a check is needed, and this type of check is made by describing a yoga. Now we will talk of the Karan. A Karan is half of a Tithi. A Karan is half of a Tithi. The first half of the first Tithi means Pratipada is the dark semi-month, is the Kara Balab, and the second half is Kara Kolab, and so on. But there are only 7 Karanas and their names recur 8 times in the course of a month. So these account for 56 out of 60 half Tithis in a month. The remaining 4 Karanas occur in between these 56 half Tithis at a certain position and have a special names like Shakuni or Chatushpad, etc. Shakuni or Chatushpad, etc. These are the names. The Karanas provide a check on Tithis, but otherwise these are of astrological importance, which is not the subject matter of my present exposition here. Then let us describe the next feature, which is most important feature, and that is the Lagna. The Lagna is also called Lagna. The Lagna is called ascendant. Although the literal meaning of the Lagna is that Lagna at any instant is the part of the ecliptic which is crossing the eastern horizon at that instant. But I can explain the situation in the further vivid way. Suppose you are standing on a place where nothing is existing. No buildings are there. It's a very big plain land. You are standing over that. Up to very far, there is no building, no obstacle at all. You look into the sky, you will find, it will appear to you that entire sky is a hemisphere and you are lying on the center of the hemisphere. Every day if you go in the night time and you stand on the same place, you will find that certain set of stars, certain group of stars, sometimes appear on one place, sometimes appear on second place, sometimes they appear on third place, same group of stars. So these groups were located, and these groups were located 12 in numbers. And each group with the full sphere, if we look into the full sphere, we are only looking into hemisphere. But for all the year if you observe, then some part is coming up and some is going below the horizon. So if you look into all the 12 groups, each group can be located within 30 degrees because the entire sphere is to subtend an angle of 360 degrees upon you. So 12 figures when divided, each figure has to be contained in the angular distance of 30 degrees. And these are known as Rashis. And it will appear to you that the entire sky, which is looking like a hemisphere, is meeting the earth on a very large distance, making a circle. That is known as horizon. So in the eastern part of horizon, the Rashi which is coming up at a time is known as Lagna or ascendant, which we are going to discuss over here. Now, next important feature for the Lagna, that it is at any instant is a part of ecliptic which is crossing the eastern horizon, and its mention serves the same purpose as the hour of the Western astronomy. And it is Western system of time reckoning can be very well translated or visualized in our system in the form of Lagna. Then important feature is the month. This is not only important, this is most important feature. In addition to the 5 elements which we have described by now, which change from day to day, month and year are essentially to be mentioned if we are writing one specific date. Say for today, we call it the 1st January of 2010. So this January is most important month. This is most important to write the month. Let us come to a discussion of the traditional Hindu calendar while describing the month. So in the traditional Hindu calendar, primarily relying up to the lunar month, also envisages the year occasionally of the 13 months instead of usual 12 months. This is the beauty of Hindu astronomy, most beautiful concept, that Hindu astronomy envisages 13 months instead of 12 months. And why so? Sometimes this looks like some superstition, but it has its most scientific meaning, because the correspondence between the months and seasons is preserved in Hindu astronomy. The months are narrated as according to the seasons which are happening. We have 6 seasons: Hemant Ritu, Grishma Ritu, Vasant Ritu, and so on, etc., etc. So the rule of addition of the 13th month in the routine 12 months is perfectly scientific, is not at all arbitrary. It is in sharp contrast with the European months, which has at all no connection with the astronomical phenomenon and contain an arbitrary number of days in such a way that simply the grand total being on an average the same as the number of days in one tropical year. I am describing it how this happened. In English system, sometimes they call it 28 days in a month, sometimes they call it 30 days in a month, sometimes they call it 31 days, and that also in July you will find 31 days, and also in August there are 31 days. They don't depend on seasons or astronomical phenomena. I can tell you the story behind it. Why so? July was named after Julius Caesar, and his maternal nephew was Augustus when he became the king. He told that, why my maternal uncle has the month named after him which is of 31 days, why not in my case? So again August was kept in 31 days. So in the Western system, in European system, they had absolutely no reason for seasons or astronomical phenomena, rather these were the reasons lying only otherwise. So these are uneven, sometimes they are 31, but the total is 365 days or 366 days. On an average, only 365 and 1/4 days are there in the year. So that is the very reason. In such a way that grand total is always 365 days, the number of days of one tropical year. In Muslim calendar, in Arabic calendar, on the other hand, disregards the seasons, although its months are lunar like the months of Hindu calendar, but they also disregard the concept of seasons. Its months are lunar, but its 1 year consists invariably of 12 lunar months, and as the lunar months contain only 29 and half days, so in Muslim calendar, Islamic calendar, the total number of days in 1 year, in spite of lunar month, are 29 and a half into 12. Now question is that. So that is why they lag behind by 11 days. The Islamic year is shorter than the tropical year by 11 days. So the Islamic year is shorter to the tropical year by 11 days. So that is why there is a problem. When they are short of about 11 days, so the months have no fixed relation with the seasons. So they retrogress through all the seasons every 32 and a half years. So they retrogress with all the seasons in 32 and a half years. Muslim rulers in India, believing on Islam, they also adopted another rule, and they devised another type of year which is known as Fasli year. The Fasli year depends on crops and harvesting. This is the year from one harvesting to another harvesting. They were supposed to collect the revenue because of harvesting. So from one collection of revenue to the other collection of revenue, they formed this type of Fasli year. Even during the British period, we defined a financial year. So financial year is definitely from 1st April of one year to the 31st March of the current year. And all the revenue which has been spent is calculated accordingly for this period. So this is how the matter of year is considered in practice by the different rulers. Let us come to the civil months in terms of Hindu calendar. The civil months in terms of Hindu calendar is most important. The number of lunar months in the year and the name of the extra month, as be the circumstance, are based in the Hindu calendar on the solar months. Starting from certain origin, the ecliptic is divided into 12 parts called Rashis. the time taken by sun in describing one Rashi is considered to be a solar month. In the next Rashi being described in the next astronomical solar month, and so on. The civil solar month from one Rashi to another next Rashi, when sun passes from one to the other Rashi, it is known as Sankranti. We call it, say, Makar Sankranti. We call it Mesh Sankranti. We call it Mithun Sankranti. So when sun passes from one Rashi to another next Rashi, it is known as Sankranti. For example, the Mesh Sankranti being the one when it lasts from one Sankranti to the Mesh Sankranti to the others. And thereafter, the most important is that the solar months have their names of their Rashis, but they have their alternative names, which are same as those of the lunar months, as depicted in the plate first presented over here. The plate first. In the plate first, the details are given for Indian months. These are the zodiacal signs according to which the solar month in North India and their corresponding names for solar months in Tamil, these have been depicted, and corresponding months have been named accordingly. The dates in the civil solar months are reckoned from 1 to 2, 30 to 31, as the case may be. The months being unequal in length is stated due to the non-uniform angular velocity of sun. Let us now discuss the solar dates, mode of acceptability of above as widespread on the globe. If we come on this feature now, so the solar dates are extensively used in Bengal, Odisha, and certain districts of Chennai. But even in these places, the religious ceremonies, the festivals, and the astrological calculations are based on the lunar orbits. Even they also believe in the type of lunar months. For astronomical purposes, the lunar months are reckoned in North India from immediately after a full moon and including the instants of the next full moon. But for civil purposes, the lunar month is reckoned from first sunrise of a month, first sunrise of the first day of astronomical lunar month. In South India, the lunar months are reckoned from new moon to new moon. And this is a system which is rooted in more primitive origin and is described in all Hindu astronomical works. Only in the white halves of the months, the names of the months are same. But in dark part of the months, in Krishna Paksh, the calculations of North India differ from the others. This is most important. The lunar months are named in accordance with the 12 nakshatras chosen out of the 27 nakshatras. These are certain special 12 nakshatras which have been chosen out of 27 nakshatras. And thereafter the months have been named. The name of the month is derived from the nakshatra near the full moon of the month occurs. For example, the month in which the full moon occurs or near the nakshatra Chitra, this month is known as Chaitra. In Hindi we call it Chait. Generally in our scientific language, Chitra is a bright star known as a spica or Virginis. This Chitra in scientific terminology is Virginis, or another name is spica. And that is why our month of Chaitra begins. Now, most important factor is the extra-lunar month, the Adhimas, which we are going to discuss now. In traditional Hindu astronomy, the addition of an extra-lunar month in the year, known as intercalcation, is based on the relation of the lunar months to the solar months. To understand this rule, for intercalcation, it is necessary to compare the lengths of the solar and the lunar months. It is best known to everybody that an year consists of 365 and 1/4 days. 1 year means 365 and 1/4 days. This is best known to everybody. And so the average solar month contains about 30 days and 10.5 hours. So, solar month contains 30 days and 10.5 hours. This is the situation. Of course, this period is longer than a lunar month, which is of 29, while lunar month is of 29.5 days, while a lunar month is of 29.5 days. So there is a difference between the solar and the lunar month. As a result, it is quite often happens that two new moons fall in the same solar month, and on such occasions, two lunar months have to be given the same name. The period for one new moon to the next, which does not contain a Sankranti, is known as Adhik Mas, Adhik Mas, or also Adhimas sometimes. And this is the concept of the 13th month, which is prevalent in Hindu astronomy. Literally, there thus remain 13 months instead of 12 months in that year. The lunar months are thus really governed by the solar months, and the system automatically makes the lunar months in compatibility with seasons, and the deviation being never more than half a lunar month, one way or the other. Let us now discuss the year. Let us now discuss the year. The year is the most pertinent unit of time. Most evidently, the year as defined in ancient texts meant to be a tropical year. In traditional Hindu astronomy, the year is supposed to have been divided into two halves, in one of which the sun goes from north. To the north it is known as Uttarayan, while in the second one, while the second part, sun goes to south, it is known as Dakshinaya. So the year is divided into two parts. But our oldest rooted astronomers were ignorant of the precision of the equinoxes, and the later ones, it was a matter of controversy whether the first point of Aries oscillates about a mean position or steadily precedes. They did not have the help of dynamics, which predicts that the movement of the first point of Aries is progressive. As a result, the Indian astronomers made no distinction between the sidereal and the tropical year, and they believed only on the sidereal year. The length of the year according to Surya Siddhant. The length of the year according to Surya Siddhant is most important. 365 days 12 hours, and in addition to that 12 minutes, 365 days, 6 hours, 12 minutes, and at last it is 36.56 seconds. And this is adopted length of the year. This has been adopted by many people. The length of tropical year prevalent in the modern astronomy is 24 minutes shorter, while the sidereal year differs from the year of Surya Siddhant by about 3 minutes only. Unfortunately, the Panchang makers of the modern times are divided in their opinions. So, the unorthodox among them have adopted the modern values of length for one tropical year as the basis, but the orthodox ones base on the values given by one ancient authority or another. Besides this, there is no unanimity among the orthodox astronomers about the position of the first point of Mesh. In 1952, the government of India appointed a committee to advise the calendar reform. We can hope that the government, the Panchang makers and the public will cope up with the recommendations of the committee. In this connection, it is most noteworthy that if we do not adopt the tropical year as the basis of our calendar, the seasons will change with respect to the months Sawan and Bhadon, which will fall to be rainy months. But the seasons have changed by about 25 days since the time of the poet Kalidas, and by about 51 days since the time of Jyotish Vedant, a text on astronomy composed about the 12th century BC. I have quoted it in the Journal of Bihar and Odisha Research Society in volume 21 of 1935. Kalidas flourished in 4th century AD according to most authorities, but in 3rd century AD according to Weber and Lasson, and in 1st century BC as for the popular tradition. He was the author of the poem Ritu Samhar. Kalidas wrote Ritu Samhar to tell about the seasons. And he correctly described the seasons. The season which existed in the first 25 days of Kuar, Ashwin in Sanskrit, in the time of Kalidas, is now exists in the last 25 days of Bhadon. This is very ruining some situation. In other words, the month which could be called Kuar on account of season is bound to be wrongly visualized as Bhadon by us in the adopted length of the year. So if we persist depending on the same erroneous value of the year further for few thousand years, it will be midwinter in the months which we will call Sawan and Bhadon. However, our Vikram Samvat is most advanced among the other calendars prevailing modern days. The current year of the Samvat is 2066, while Christian year has begun today as 2010. Hijri year is 1430 to 31 and 1416 to 17, etc. So, and Bangla year is also there, like that. So we are definitely much advanced and much advanced relating to that. Let us now come to horoscope. Horoscope is the statement in a tabular form of the position of Sun, Moon, 5 planets and Rahu and Ketu. Rahu and Ketu are ascending and descending nodes of Moon. 3 parameters are essential for casting any horoscope. For occurrence, it is date, time and place. So in the plate second, I have depicted, come to the plate second, where I have depicted the horoscope or planetary position when I am speaking over here in this Dayalbagh Institute. So the position is like this at 5 p.m. This describes the planetary situations. In the rest of the part, We can also depend on the Jantar Mantar, an instrument made by learned people appointed by Raja Jai Singh. And two such observatories are available in Jaipur and Delhi. In Jantar Mantar, the Jai Prakash Yantra, the Mishra Yantra, the Niyat Chakra Yantra, and Dakshino Vritti, and Kark Rashi Vara, they can describe the best the elements of our Panchangas. At the last, I want to acknowledge for the present exposition, I would like to pay my sincere thanks to the Department of Science and Technology, DST, Government of India, which is the funding agency for the project on celestial mechanics running in collaboration with Dr. Alka Mishra of Department of Mathematics and Astronomy, Lucknow University. As the facts presented over here have come to the light during the investigations under the same. Further special thanks are due to the Department of Human Resources, Government of India and DEI Agra for providing me a valuable opportunity for presenting the exposition amongst a distinguished galaxy of investigators, which could not be possible without the special endeavor of Dr. Satya Srivastava and Dr. Shanti Suru, who have inspired and coordinated for the same and have dedicatedly taken pains. So the most heartily thanks go to them.